Good afternoon and welcome once again to Orphan Car Garage. My name is John. This is my YouTube channel. We're coming to you today, the first day of February 2023, from a very cool and brisk Abington, Massachusetts, which is about 30 minutes south of Boston. The weather gods have been pretty easy on us this season. No snow on the ground, no road salt on the pavement thanks to a lot of rain, and clear sunshine skies. So why not present to you a great yellow Orphan today? This car deserves not to wait till spring, which may have happened last year at this time, because I think last year at this time we had some snow on the ground and some road salt and gray, nasty skies. So anyway, here we are, presenting to you this great 1956 NASH Rambler Custom. I'm not going to go into the details of how NASH and Rambler became about. We've talked about that on my YouTube channel over and over again. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but the Rambler line, of course, was started by NASH in 1950, and after the merger in 54 with NASH and Hudson to become American Motors, George Romney decided that the Rambler nameplate, the Rambler line, was the way to go, the way of American Motors' future, and he certainly was right. So here we have a 1956 NASH Rambler. This is a first-year model. Once the AMC merge took place, they put all their bets into one basket and they designed this car here in front of us. Quite a departure from the original NASH Rambler, which, by the way, was highly regarded as America's first successful small car. 1956, the car got a little bigger, a little wider. Wheelbase changed a little bit, but it was still considered a small compact car, and it could hold 6 adults fairly comfortably, which was pretty much unheard of in the industry for a car of this size. Up until Rambler came around, specifically the American Motors version of the Rambler, like we have here in front of us, if you bought a small, inexpensive car, you were kind of reminded of it every day. Say a Willys Aero or a Henry J. Very plain, mundane vehicles. Nothing against them. I love those, and I'd love to have some here at the garage, but styling-wise, they weren't that exciting. American Motors didn't believe that that should be the case. If you spent less money for a car, you should probably get as much glitz and glamour and style as the guys and gals that bought the Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs and Mercury. So here we have a perfect example of that. This is the first year, again, redesign of the original Rambler name. This is a NASH Rambler. You could also get a Hudson Rambler, because until 1957, the cars were badged as both and sold at the two dealers. Obviously, the merge took place in 54, and at that point we had Hudson dealers and we had NASH dealers, and it wasn't fair to close them all down, one or the other. So they both got the same cars, and basically the only thing that was different on all the vehicles, on many of the vehicles, this vehicle in particular, was that hood emblem. This is obviously the NASH version, and the hubcaps. There's an N in the center of those hubcaps for NASH, and if this had been a Hudson Rambler, there would be a Hudson emblem there, and there'd be an H emblem on the hubcap. That's literally the only difference in the two vehicles. I guess you could say it was a very early rendition of brand engineering. American Motors with the NASH and the Hudson line through 1957, this car in particular. And the Metropolitan, same way. I think the only thing on the Metropolitan that's any different is the grille emblem. You have the NASH emblem or the Hudson emblem. You could get a Hudson Metropolitan and a NASH Metropolitan. And then after 1957, it just became Metropolitan, and this car just became Rambler. So 56 and 57 on this particular car are very similar in design. Rarely seen today. Rarely seen today. This particular car I got out of Ventura, California, just about a year ago, and I contemplated keeping it for myself. That's why I've been holding back on showing it off. Striking colors, original colors, by the way. The car has been repainted, but the original colors, this real striking sunshine yellow with that black spear, and the interior is green. It's a real pretty green, and those are the original colors to this car, which I just think is amazing. I love the chances and the color combinations that manufacturers offered in the mid-1950s. A guy pulled up here a little while ago as I was getting the car placed for videos and pictures, and he pulled over and he said, "That's probably about the ugliest car I've ever seen." And I turned to him and I said, "Thank you," because to me that's a compliment. I love what some people consider ugly cars because they draw attention and no one ever sees them. So I guess you could say we sell a lot of ugly cars here at Orphan Car Garage, and I'm okay with that because that's kind of why I started this whole thing, and I love them. So this particular car has been repainted, I'm going to say probably about 25 years ago, and the paint has held up extremely well. A couple little chips here and there, but the paint really shines very, very, very well. Again, a couple chips here on the hood. Really, really nice paint. I wouldn't touch it at all, except maybe do a little bit of touch up here and there. The trim is all in really nice shape, and it's original. The odometer on this car shows 29,000 miles. I was told by the gentleman that I purchased the car from out of Ventura, California, that that mileage is original. There are a lot of things about this car that lead me to believe that that is correct, but I can't guarantee it. So I won't guarantee it. This car could either have 29,000 miles or 129,000 miles. I would place my bets on 29,000, but I won't say that for sure, so I'm not advertising it as a low mileage original car. The bumpers on the car are original with just some minor flaws. There is some tarnishing there on that grille, as you can see. A little bit of pitting. Spent a little bit of time polishing that up. You could probably spend a little bit more. The inserts there. The front header bar is beautiful, as is the hood ornament. So there's a lot of originality to the car, other than that paint, but the paint is done correctly, and it is, like I said, the original shades. Back bumper, same thing. A little bit of minor pitting there. Maybe a little bit more elbow grease could bring that up even better. This car is 100% rust-free. I don't know where it spent its whole life. I bought this car again out of California, and I know that it spent some time in Florida at one point. There is absolutely no possible way this car ever spent any time in the Rust Belt. Absolutely, positively not. You could eat off the undercarriage of this car. Absolutely nothing. Let me get to the interior here. It's rather interesting. Nice trim. I love that AMC used this beveled aluminum around the windows. It's almost like something you'd see on a screen window in your house. Original door panels. Very, very nice condition, and that pretty green with the white knobs and the white spear. Those are all original door panels. There's absolutely no doubt about it, and in pretty good shape. A little bit of a tear there where you kick to get in and out. Very clean. Door jambs, no rust, like I said. Dashboard, rather snazzy. It has a radio. The radio powers up, but I can't get a station to work out of it. This car has a clock. Of course, that clock doesn't work. The odometer showing 30,155 miles. So I was wrong by 1,000 miles. That could very well be original. I was told it was original. I believe that it could possibly be original, but I have no documentation to back that up. Of course, the car has the famous Weather Eye heating system. This car does not have air conditioning, but it is an automatic. It is an automatic transmission car. Those original door panels, beautiful glass, beautiful dashboard. In case you're not aware, you turn the key on these cars and start by pulling the automatic lever forward to start the vehicle. Seats have been reupholstered. Not to my liking, but they're presentable. I believe, I haven't investigated, but I believe that maybe some of the original material is under these covers. Obviously, the original material probably on the driver's side here was worn, and that's why they decided to do a reupholster. I think they tried to replicate the original as best they could, but again, it's probably about 20 or 25 years ago. I read that AMC offered 41 different interior combinations on these cars with different fabrics and designs and weaves. So it would be really hard to try to find out what this car had originally, unless there is some indication of it underneath. And I believe there might be. I just didn't investigate it. If I was to keep this car, I probably would do another reupholster on these front and rear seats with something more period correct. The back of the seat looks original. It's got that diamond diamond type pattern to it, which appears to be original. I don't know. I wish I knew. Again, the back seat, someone did add seat belts to the car. The headliner is original. Some minor staining over there over the passenger door. Very original interior overall, other than the seat upholstery. Those door panels, again, beautiful condition. Door opening, no rust. You really won't find any rust on this car whatsoever. Real pretty car. All depends what you're looking for here. If you're looking for a car that's going to win a class at an AMC or Rambler show, you'd probably want to redo those seats to something more correct for AMC. But if you're looking for just a fun old Rambler to drive around in, they're perfectly fine. There's no rips or tears. I'm just a purist, so if I was to keep the car, I probably would have those two seats reupholstered, and that would really be about it. We did the brakes in this car, or should I say we attempted to do the brakes in this car, because it needed a four-wheel brake job when I got it, unbeknownst to me, because the seller that I got it from failed to mention that point. I don't do things like that, by the way. I think you all know that by now. So I needed to do a four-wheel brake job on this car when it arrived. I obtained all the parts. I brought the car to my mechanic that works on all my orphan cars, and he was able to perform the front brake job with no issue. He was not able to remove the rear drums. These cars have a very specific rear drum. You need a special puller to remove the drum from the axle. He tried in vain. He didn't have the special puller. He tried to get the drums off was not able to do that. So this car is being sold needing rear brakes. I have the parts. You just need to provide the labor. The front brakes have been redone. We also rebuilt the carburetor and changed the oil. It's a nice running little car, but somebody's probably going to want to go through it. It's spent many years sitting in California in a garage, so it has not been driven much, probably in the last 6 to 10 years. You're going to want to go through this car. I've done all I'm going to do to it. We're letting it go from here at a bargain price, so the next person can tinker with it a little bit. You'll have a showstopper. I mean, it already is a showstopper, but it needs a little bit of love to bring it to another level. This isn't a car that I would get in and drive an hour home on the highway until I went through it thoroughly. We've done what we can. We've done what we're going to do, front brakes, a rebuilt carburetor, a fresh oil change. The car starts right up, goes into gear, it doesn't smoke. I'm going to do a video of the car running when I'm done here. In fact, let me show you the engine. This car has a straight 6. I probably should have mentioned this a long time ago. In 1956, the only engine you could get on this car was the 6-cylinder engine. This has the overhead valve 196 cubic inch 6-cylinder. I believe it was the first year it was offered, 1956. Prior to this, they were all flathead 6s. I think when they upgraded the engine to the overhead valve 6-cylinder engine, it added about 30 horsepower. So this car puts out about 120 horsepower with that straight 6 overhead valve engine. Probably would have been about 90 horsepower prior to that with the flathead. So this has the straight 6. I know everyone's probably going to wonder if it had a V8. V8s were not available in this car until 1957, when AMC introduced their own V8. And of course, 1957 was when the Rebel was introduced, which was on this platform, the same body style. So there you have it. That's a very clean engine bay. Again, no rust. I believe that paint in the engine bay is original. Very clean and presentable for a Survivor style car, a Survivor type car, the engine bay there. Very good running car. Like I said, no smoke, no noises, but I probably still would want to tinker with it a little bit, because like I said, the car's been sitting several years. I had this car shipped here from Ventura, California. That's a whole nother story in itself. Transporters didn't want to go into Ventura because of the population and the traffic. So I don't even want to tell you what it cost me to get this car here from Ventura. I'm still trying to lick my wounds from that. But sometimes, as I say, and I say it a lot, I'd rather pay a transporter than a body man. And that's absolutely the case with this car. Absolutely solid through and through. No body work needed whatsoever. I'm going to post a bunch of pictures of this car on my website. We're going to list this car on Hemmings with more pictures. I've got undercarriage and trunk pictures. There's absolutely no rust on this car whatsoever. It's incredible. So we're asking $11,900 for this car, Orphan Car Garage pricing, $11,900. And just an FYI, a wagon version of this very same car sold at Barrett-Jackson just last week for $47,000. It was a wagon, but it was a 1956 NASH Rambler wagon, and it sold for $47,000. We're asking $11,900 for this 1956 NASH Rambler custom sedan. Give me a call, 508-954-8090. Check me out on the web at orphancargarage.com. Of course, subscribe below. YouTube channel. I'm always presenting cool, fun stuff like this at affordable prices. Find me on Facebook. Post all my new arrivals there as well. So I'm going to go inside. My fingers are starting to get numb. It's about 28 degrees, I think, here in Abington. Time to go warm up, get a cup of coffee, and download this video and some photos and see if we can get it sold. Thank you very much, and until next time, take care of yourself.